What's up, guys? I haven't been here in a bit. I haven't done a UFC prediction. I've been doing stuff in wrestling and jiu-jitsu, so I've been kind of preoccupied. Uh, but we're back with a great card at 235. We're back with Jones. Very quick turnaround for him after he tested positive and then he beat Alexander Gustafsson. And we're like, oh, is he gonna fight DC? Is he going heavyweight? Oh no, he fought a guy that I made a video even before him. A lot of guys you might not know. Anthony Lionheart Smith, 2018. I had him breakout star of the year, but they had him as most improved. I haven't heard of him since last year. First fight I ever saw Anthony Smith was him versus Rashad Evans. It was on a Fight Pass prelim, and he knocked out Rashad straight up. And then he goes and fights. It was supposed to be Volkan Ozdemir versus Shogun. I think that's what they were trying to do. And then I think Glover versus Alir Latifi. I think those were the two fights they were doing for that fight night show. Andy Smith came in there because Volkan got injured, or Volkan tried to fight Alexander Gustafsson and got injured. I don't know what happened with Volkan in those two situations. But we found out that Anthony Smith is a gamer, and he went and fought Shogun, and the whole show, because we had Corey Anderson versus Glover Teixeira, right? And I think the whole show went all to decision besides the main event, and Anthony Smith finished Shogun and got ranked in the middleweight division, not light heavyweight division. Then he goes and fights fucking Volkan Ozdemir. Now this was the test for him. A lot of my friends were like, Volkan Ozdemir is gonna whoop on Anthony Smith. My boy Jose, Ramon, all the cats I know, they always like, we don't think Anthony Smith is gonna beat. One of the famous lines my boy Ramon told me was that all he's done is beat dead bodies. And when he fought Volkan, and Volkan was coming off the DC loss, but before that he was knocking everybody out. He really was. He's Mirko Koshinov is really good. He's fighting on the 235 card against Johnny Walker in the prelims. Really good guy. Really good jiu-jitsu. Really good grappler. But he just got knocked the fuck out in that fight, He just wasn't at that level. And then Volkan Ozdemir fights fucking Jimmy Manuwa. Jimmy was like, oh, he's not going to win this fight. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do this. And he knocks out Jimmy Manuwa in the first fucking round. And Jimmy was like ranked number 2. We thought Jimmy was going to get a title shot or whatever. But, Volkan fights DC and then loses. But we assumed Volkan was the top guy, That's why his fight with Alexander Gustafsson was so interesting, because they're two top of the food chain kind of guys. And a lot of people doubted Anthony. But I knew in my heart, the thing about Anthony that he got over some of these other guys that have fought DC and lost, besides, I would say, Alexander Gustafsson. If you look at specifically Anthony Rumble Johnson and Volkan Ozdemir, honestly, you look at both of their fights, and they do, they train with the same kind of people. They have the same coaches, right? If you look at both of the fighters, I don't want to say they don't have heart, but they quit in their fights against DC. And Volkan, I just knew wasn't necessarily there. He was a good hammer, let me put it like this, but was never a good needle getting hammered. There are certain guys that could get destroyed and come back. Volkan's just not that kind of guy. He's a destroyer. He's not supposed to get destroyed. And I knew Anthony Smith has gotten knocked out or messed up and been in wars, and he came back and has experience and stuff like that. Really good jiu-jitsu. And in that fight, when they were striking, Volkan got tired. And so did Anthony Smith. Volkan took Anthony Smith down. I think he learned a lot from the DC fight. He had some really dope takedowns. He got better. Training with Sugar Rashad Evans helped him out with his wrestling. But I could tell he was fading. But they were both fading too at the same time. You got to look at that from that kind of perspective. And I just noticed in my heart, I noticed that Anthony was gonna win it. I just noticed it. For some reason, I just knew that even though they both retired, Anthony got more heart than Volkanovski, and we saw it in that fight, man. He took, even though when things got hard, he took Volkanovski down and choked him the fuck out. He choked him the fuck out. And then out of all the guys John could have picked as an opponent, he picked Anthony Smith. Honestly, gave him the title shot. Not because he deserves it. It's because he doesn't respect Anthony Smith, and Anthony knows it. The squad knows it, and we'll see. We'll see when fight day comes if he does respect him. But in my heart of hearts, I don't think he respects Anthony Smith as a real contender. He tweeted out he wasn't impressed with his Volkan Ozdemir. If you're not impressed with heart, then yeah, I wouldn't expect a guy that has a hard time showing the heart he has in that octagon. But that we're not here to talk about what John Jones does in the octagon. I'm here to predict the fights, and I think Anthony Smith. A lot of people might call me crazy for this. I think Anthony Smith will knock out John Jones. I'm going Smith in the main event. I've never been a big John Jones fan. I understand he is one of the greatest athletes to ever be in the light heavyweight division, and as a champion, he has beat some of the greatest fighters that light heavyweight and heavyweight has ever really seen. DC is one of the greatest, prospects to ever come out from that Olympic team. I think out of 2008 Olympic wrestling team at Henry Cejudo and Ben Askren and the other cats that have come in. Cejudo hasn't done as much as DC yet, but he's getting there. Askren just came, so. But DC has accomplished so much, being Frank Mir, Roy Nelson, some of the best heavyweights in that division, then going light heavyweight, killing everyone, Patrick Cummings, Dan Henderson, and before their first fight, people were looking at DC as a legit threat, and John took him out. It was like 4-1, But DC gets the title back, beats Brumble, beats Anderson Silva, beats Alexander Gustafsson, beats Rumble again, and then gets knocked out by Jones. Nowhere am I denying Jones is one of the best or one of the great fighters to ever come out of the UFC, because he beat, in my opinion, and one of my personal favorites, and in my opinion, is the greatest right now in terms of champions, DC. So I'm not denying that, but there is a sense of arrogance that can kill a fighter. You saw it with Alex Hernandez recently versus Donald Cerrone. And it's not that they don't respect their opponents, but they highly see them above their opponents. So maybe in a way they are not respecting them, but they're so pretentious on what they can offer, and they don't realize anyone can lose. It could sometimes, even on your best day, 9 out of 10 times, or 1 out of 10 times, a guy can catch you. And sometimes your chin can't hold up. And I think if it isn't Anthony Smith one day, John will learn that lesson. And that uber confidence is going to bite him in the ass. So I'm picking Smith to beat Jones. Then we got Woodley versus Usman. Great fucking fight. I'd have preferred to see Covington in this, but I think we're going to get that next. This is young boy Woodley going up against a vet Woodley. This is really two guys that mirror each other. If you look at their careers, the way they started, and the way they're coming up, they really do kind of look similar. And I think Woodley has proven as a champion how much of a great striker he's improved, and I think Usman hasn't shown that. His wrestling is undeniable. His pressure is undeniable. Even you could say his striking looked good against Dos Anjos, but that was a Dos Anjos that wasn't prime ready, wasn't coming off a win against Robbie Lawler. That was a guy who just came off a loss to Colby Covington, and he did not seem the most confident. I assumed he came in there to fight, looking at all the training videos he was doing, looking at all the sprawls he was doing, getting ready for Usman, but he got destroyed. And I think the Covington loss, coming off of that, wasn't the best thing, fighting another wrestler. So, Usman's qualifications for this fight doesn't. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is such a great fight. Usman's a real challenger." In my opinion, if you look at his qualifications, they meet the same requirement as Colby, but the only difference is that he's taken Colby's sloppy seconds. And you could say the same thing about Colby and Damian Maya, that Woodley beat Damian Maya and then Colby beat him. But you can't deny Colby was the first guy to beat RDA when RDA was the motherfucker. Everyone thought, oh, maybe RDA is gonna fight Woodley because what he just did to Robbie Lawler, he just destroyed him for 5 rounds, beating on him. Robbie couldn't defend himself. Uh, but yeah, Usman's still a great fucking wrestler, and if you look at accolades and stuff like that, you'd assume Usman has an advantage there. But really, Woodley trains with a guy even better than Usman, so I think he's ready for that. And he has the best takedown defense in the welterweight division. And overall, in my opinion, Woodley deserves a lot of respect for last year's performance against Darren Till and how he's acting as a champion. He is always what's the word surprising me on how great he's acting lately. And before there was a time where he was acting a little shallow, I'd say. But now he's just been spot on. He's what I would think a great champion is. And I think where Willie beats him is striking, and I think Willie takes him out there because I think Usman can get a takedown. I do believe he can do it. But when they strike with each other, it's not going to go well for Usman. I do believe that it's not, and I think that's why I think Willie's going to beat Usman. Next, we have Lawler versus Askren. This is a guy in Robbie Lawler who's a motherfucker. A lot of people have forgotten how good he is because a lot of people think he's going to lose to Ben Askren. I'm on 50-50 with this. It's hard to pick. This is a phenomenal fight. You gotta look back to really understand this fucking fight. And because Ben doesn't have the greatest chance. It's 50-50, Ben. A lot of guys might have forgot how good this guy was back in the day, but Johnny Hendricks was a motherfucker. I don't care if he was on steroids or what. He was so fucking good. His wrestling was impeccable. He was knocking fools out. Something Ben Askren hasn't done. And I could say Johnny Hendricks and Ben's wrestling are on par with each other, even though, and to be honest, Johnny did beat him in wrestling. So, yeah, and Robbie has a win over him. Don't get me wrong. Johnny did beat him the first time. He did beat him the first time. I believe that. And the second time was extremely close. But Robbie will tee off on you because he knows how to sprawl. He knows he's a sprawl and brawl kind. He knows how to stop a motherfucking takedown. You have to kill Robbie Lawler, or you have to sit him down. I'll never forget in the first fight with Johnny Hendricks, she's just shaking his head while he was getting taken down, and you have to really know how to deal with that kind of thing. As Ben, he has to realize this guy is top of the food chain, former champ. High level, man. You have to give him volume strikes. And honestly, in the fight against Dos Anjos, you might even blame the MCL tear for him losing that fight. But, everyone comes with injuries in UFC fights, so you kind of have to ignore that low-key. But Robbie's a tough motherfucker. And I'm not saying Robbie's going to beat Ben Askren, but I am leading towards Ben, but I do want people to realize this is a this fight can go either way. We could see, Ben Askren get knocked out with all the fucking curls going all over the fucking octagon, Like, the Funk Master could get knocked the fuck out, It could happen. I would not be surprised if it did, but I will go Ben Askren based on the fact of the wrestling, and he does train with Willie, who did beat him, so. But it was a different kind of fight, though, with Willie. Willie just knocked his lights out. So I will be going Ben Askren. And I kind of do want him to win because, he needs it. Then you got Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munoz. This is not a tune-up fight for Cody, but it is not necessarily a high-level fight. This is kind of in the middle. Pedro's all right. I saw him fight on the prelim main event for 227. He's a good fighter. He's really good, But I think he's not on Cody's level. I hope he surprises me, but I think Cody Garbrandt is gonna knock this fool out. I think he might finally use his wrestling and play it safe. Since he's coming off that loss to TJ. I know he's still learning, he's still evolving, and he's still a great talent and fighter. So you know, and he's a former champion. And if you look at his performance against Dominic Cruz, which was amazing, amazing, ranked to champion in a year, you know, unranked to champion in a year, by the way. So he can be one of the greatest bantamweights of all time. But I think his little rivalry, and teammates just know you. Even in wrestling, I went with teammates before, and he'd beat me and I beat him, kind of thing. I know my teammates. The first time I went with my boy Felipe at Oakland Tech, right? We was wrestling against each other. He's, if you look at his, how many medals he's winning, he had a great season. You know, like if you look at him, you might be like, oh, he might be the best wrestler. I didn't have the greatest season that year. I only wrestled half the year that year, and I didn't win as many as medals as him because I didn't compete in many tournaments. And you might like, oh, Felipe's gonna beat him. But I know him. He could. I just know what he does and what he's gonna go for. If he's gonna go for a head and arm, how to stop it, and then hit a half on him and then roll him up, and that's what I did. I just knew how to beat him. So Cody could be the best talent in the world, and TJ could know. And I think Cody was caught up in all the drama and how he needed to beat TJ to avenge something that really didn't need to be avenged. So that's why I think Cody lost to TJ. And TJ's a great talent. I'm not gonna take nothing away from him from that. But then we got TJ Torres versus Zhang. Probably the least fight I'm actually kind of excited for. I'm gonna go TJ Torres. I don't know about the other girl. Then there's some prelim fights I think everyone should check out. Zabit versus Jeremy Stevens will be a fucking war. It's so hard, man. Jeremy Stevens has killed his last 3 opponents. Besides, if you discount Jose Aldo, I haven't seen Josh Emmett in a whole year. I think he's fighting Michael Johnson in Philadelphia. But he's been on like I think a medical suspension for maybe 2 or 1 year straight. Uh, Doi Choi, what happened to him? Wasn't he supposed to be a superstar? Yeah, Jeremy Stevens shut that shit down. All right, Gilbert Melendez. I think Jeremy permanently put him on the Sports Center table as an analyst and said, if you even walk to Octagon, I will break your legs again. That's how much of a crazy dude he is. And he's not even the biggest savage on this card, in my opinion. That guy's coming up. But it's hard for me to pick, but I'm going Zabit. I love Jeremy Stevens, man. But Zabit's been on a roll. He's so athletic. He's a great fucking martial artist. He has everything. The wrestling's there. The jiu-jitsu's there. The striking is just all there. He's an artist. You know how everyone kind of like dick riding Anderson, Israel Adesanya and stuff like that. I haven't. I think he's a little overrated, but and people call him an artist, and I don't see that. But the way they describe him is the way I describe Zabit, and he is a real artist. But I do realize Jeremy Stevens is a tough test for him though, because he's a motherfucker. He is a championship level or championship caliber fighter. Just people haven't realized it yet. The next fight is fuck. When I was talking about savages and I said Jeremy Stevens wasn't the biggest savage on this card, I was referring to Diego Sanchez. He is a motherfucker. He is the pure definition of that. He always brings it, and he's fighting Mickey Gall, who's a young kid coming in here, coming to win. It's gonna be a great fucking fight. Yeah, Mickey wants to laugh at the guy, but don't laugh at him too hard. Craig White made the same mistake, not taking him seriously, and he was on his goddamn back on his ass, doing nothing but getting fucked up or getting dominated. And I got Diego Sanchez. On this, even though he's given up a lot of shit. But he got one thing. That's heart. I don't know if Mickey got that. I haven't seen enough of Mickey's fights. I didn't see his loss to Randy Brown in 217. I kind of skipped that. And I didn't see his fight on the Junior Dos Santos versus what's the other motherfucker? It wasn't Bam Bam or Taito Ivasa. It was the other dude. They were trying to hype that guy up. Oh, he beat Fedor in Sambo. Oh, we should check him out. Fucking Junior whooped on him for 5 rounds straight. It was on that card. Um, but shit, he looked good on that. He submitted the guy. So I've only seen the wins I've seen him win. I've seen some of his fight with Mike Jackson, but I've seen those two fights. The one on that fight night and him versus CM Punk. So I haven't seen enough of him, and then I kind of saw some of what when he lost to Randy Brown. But he's young, so he got time. Then you got probably one of the hottest prospects at light heavyweight, Johnny Walker, tall motherfucker, long, lanky, and knocking fools out, athletic, and is a future light heavyweight champion, John Jones. If Luke Rocco doesn't go light heavyweight and doesn't beat John Jones, if Anthony Smith can't do it, or Thiago Santos, Johnny Walker is my man to dethrone John Jones, take that man's head off, and fucking kick it like a soccer ball. That man is charismatic. Oh man, you should have seen him at the at the fucking the face-offs. He was styling and profiling and showing how these kids how it was done. The lady was asking for a better, fucking view of the chin or view of his face or whatever. He kind of changed positions. Like, yep, I'm a star. Like that dude, he's gonna make it, man. That's my favorite dude out of the whole entire card, or one of my favorite prospects. I think he's gonna make it. But yeah, man, that's my predictions. I got Smith against Jones. I got Willie against Usman. Lawler versus no, I got Askren versus Lawler. That's how fucking close that fight is. Cody versus Munoz. Chicha Torres versus Zhang. Zabit versus Jeremy Stevens. Diego versus Mickey Gall, and Johnny Walker versus Mirko Koshinov. I don't know much about Mirko Koshinov. I just know he submitted Patrick Cummings, so he's pretty good jiu-jitsu, and I know he got knocked out by Volkan Ozdemir, so he can get knocked out. So that's what I. But really, that fight is about Johnny Walker. He's so fucking tall, so athletic, so good. Check him out. I'm out.